myself otherwise. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just bear with me, I'm checking that my iPad and Facebook are all up to date where they should be. Oh, that looks promising, very promising. And there's sounds promising as well. Great, excellent. Looks like we're up and running and hopefully on all three channels. I can't tell. My chat's not working. Let's have a look there. I'll start that up again. Assuming that we're up and running on all three channels, looks like we are. Excellent. Great. All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. As you're coming on, please reach out. Tell me where you're watching from, and if it's your first time, tell me that as well. It'd be great to know how far afield I get with my little crafting videos. Apologies, I'm about a day late for midweek crafting. It's turned into late week crafting. Just had a pretty busy week this so far with various doctor's appointments and haircuts and dinners with children. It just was a really busy week. So anyway, to save not having to rush and do a half job, I decided to come on a wee bit later this week. Okay, and what we're going to make together today is this little card here. It's online, it's called a Cascading Pleat card. It seems to be all the rage at the moment. Everyone seems to have their versions of Cascading Pleat cards out there and online. I had a bit of a look at some of the instructions and found them quite confusing, so I've actually simplified it a wee bit. I'm sort of hoping that we can do this as part of a future Funfold class. So I didn't really want to be cutting 40 really complicated card bases, so as I say, simplified it a bit, and hopefully you'll find it a wee bit simpler as well if you compare what we're going to do today with some of the templates that are out there. The bundle that I'm using, we've used before together, is the Fluffiest Friends bundle, dies and stamp set. Cute little fluffy pudgy little friends there. They're really gorgeous. We've used the cat on a previous card, assuming that that's what it is. It looks a bit like a cat, although holding a pot plant and sitting upright, that I'm not quite sure. We've got a beaver, a little sort of chipmunky thing, a bird and a rabbit and a bear, and we're going to be using the bear today. Just because I really wanted to use some of the little dies and die cuts that come with him. He's really cute. As I say, the dies there as well. I'm also cheating a wee bit, and hopefully you'll forgive me. I'm using a paper from the upcoming mini catalogue, a new one, so available to customers from the 4th of January. It's called Be Mine Designer Series paper, and obviously as the title on the box says, it features a whole lot of bee and honey images. It's really cute and really bright, and it's got some lovely images there that you can use. As I say, bees on one side, and then you tend to get a pattern of sorts on the other. And there's some honey there as well, which is appropriate with our bear that we're doing today. So there's oh well, there are some bees on this card, but not it's more of a honey and bear show. So there's some bees there as well. This paper actually comes with a bundle, a punch bundle, called Be My Valentine, I think it is. It has a punch and a cute bee stamp, which I'll show at some stage over the next couple of weeks. You may have seen it already because we did feature it in our demonstrator gathering, so a fair few demonstrators have it out there. Anyway, so we're going to make this one again together. As I mentioned, it's a Cascading Pleat, and it's the good thing about this card is that you've got 3 surfaces that you can decorate. So if you think doing the inside and the outside is not enough, this one you've actually got, it's like a little book card. You can actually decorate the whole 3 surfaces there. So yeah, really nice if you've got, you want to show off a paper or a die set or something like that with lots of little added bits, which is what we're doing today. Okay, so I've already popped the measurements up in the event, but I will pop them onto my Facebook page and YouTube channels as well. But what I'll do is I've written it down here, basically more for my own purposes than anything else. If anyone wanted to take a screenshot of this page while I'm holding them there, they can take a screenshot and have the measurements there. They're in inches, but I will convert to centimetres before I pop them onto Facebook and YouTube. So that's the measurements there. I'll show you the layers in a minute. And as I say, if you can't get that or can't take a screenshot of that, then please just hang 5 and I'll have them on my page. But anyway, so here's all the bits and pieces. I've got the various dies and die cuts and designer series paper. We'll put the card together first before we actually start decorating it. Always sounds like a good way of doing things. Sounds logical, doesn't it? And I'll show you how to make the actual card. Okay, so the bit that I've simplified is this basic card base part. I'll grab my trimmer. So as in those little quick flash of numbers I gave you, this is the card base itself. It's 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, whatever that is in centimetres, I'm not quite sure, but as I say, I'll convert them for you. What I'm going to do, and this is the same as all the other templates that are out there, you take it from one end and you basically score along the long edge, along the 9 1/2 edge, you score at 1, 2, 3, and at 4 inches. So your 9 1/2 end, you score at 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's the 4th one there. I don't know if you can see those. They're not quite as, I'll just bend them a wee bit and you'll see. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what you do. So that's where it gets, that's the easy part. And in other templates, that's where it starts to get complicated, because they do this weird sort of stepping cut. So they'll cut there and leave that one and then cut there. It was confusing. I'll tell you now, I was confused. This is my easier way, and the end result is slightly different, but you know, unless you were a card maker who'd made one of these, you wouldn't know it was any different to the complicated ones. So what we need to do is, along our short edge, we're going to measure off at 1 1/2 inches from the top. So I'm just popping that on my trimmer there at 1 1/2 inch mark. Just going to use my little spiky end, and I'm just popping a wee little mark there. If you had a pencil handy, a pencil mark. So a pencil mark at 1 1/2 inches from the top. Then you just rotate slightly, and from the second, so that's my first score. So from the second score, you cut diagonally from the top of the second score to that 1 1/2 inch mark that you have just made. Just straight like that. No fancy zigzags or steps or anything like that. You're just basically going perfectly straight. And that is as complicated as this card base gets. No worrying too much about anything else. And what you do there is you then sort of fold this little inchy petitions that you've made, these inchy scores. So you go valley, mountain, like that. So you've got a bit of a zigzag happening. And that is the card base. And that's how it looks at the front. If we'd gone, as I say, with the complicated sort of straight, those zigzaggy lines there would be straight instead. But my way of thinking, it makes absolutely no difference. And it looks quite cute when it's finished. And I'll show you in a minute. So yeah, that's as complicated as my card base gets. And as I said, if I'm going to be using it in a fun fold class over the next few months, I didn't really want to be mucking around with complicated cuts. And that's what we have. Okay, so that's the card base there. Now we've got our various layers, and if you've the layers from that piece of paper that I flashed up, otherwise, as I say, I will pop them onto my to my Facebook page. So the card base, we've used Petal Pink, so that's what that colour is. Then the contrast colour I'm using is Sweet Sorbet. So Petal Pink's sort of like a, what would you call it, a sort of a apricot-y pink, and Sweet Sorbet is sort of like a pinky red, so they go together quite well. And then so I've got layers of Sweet Sorbet, and then layers of the various cute papers from the Be Mine designer series paper. We're just going to layer those up. So that's the largest layers there. They go straight on the back. There we go. And let's see. Oh, you've made one of these, have you, Deb? I can't remember. I know I've seen so many online at the moment. Deb saying she used the other way. Yeah, so many. Some of the big US demonstrators have got these all over their Pinterest at the moment. So definitely the flavour of the moment. We go through that with card making. It's so funny to watch. You can see that you know, styles, card folds and techniques will be all the rage. And then usually by the time I catch on with the rage, it's well and truly past and nobody's doing it anymore. I remember a few years ago, and anyone who's been around, we all had to get hold of, what was it called? It was a special peel and seal or something. It was like a special plastic kitchen wrap that we were all using for floating frame cards, and everybody wanted this, whatever this stuff is, press and seal, I think it was called. And I couldn't find it anywhere in Hobart where I live, and I managed to grab some when I was visiting New Zealand, of all places. I grabbed some from a supermarket in Auckland, and so by the time I managed to grab it, nobody was making floating frame cards anymore. Absolutely nobody. So I ended up with all this peel and seal or whatever it was called, and honestly I didn't really like it in the kitchen. I didn't find it useful in the kitchen at all. So it wasn't useful in the kitchen, and it wasn't useful in the craft room either, which was a shame. Okay, so we've layered that up with our cute little paper with our honey pots, because that's the theme of our card. Then we're going to use the layers, as I mentioned in the in that little piece of paper. We've got layers of petal pink, and then a slightly smaller layer of sweet sorbet, and then a matching layer of our beautiful designer series paper. And each of those sort of threesomes will go into one of these little sort of zigzags of our card base. And because we've timed it, I've measured it pretty well, the top corner of the little layer matches the height of that fold, that score there, so it looks nice and even as it goes. So yeah, it's turned out quite well, this little sheet of mine. So I'm just going to pop a wee bit of glue on the leading edge, the left hand leading edge of this one, and pop it into that little valley. Okay, so that is there. So it sort of forms a page, almost like a little book, a little zigzag book. So that one goes in there like that, and we close that down, and then the third petal pink layer goes on the front. Just make sure that they all line up on the left hand edge and the bottom, so it sits up nice when it's on display. And there we are. So that's our 3 cascading pleats there. Okay, and it folds closed like that. Now let's layer these up. So this is the middle-sized layers. Go on the middle-sized edge. So you just open it up like a wee book to actually decorate each page. Oh, now Gwenda, if you're watching, we've just had a lovely chat with Gwenda, but Gwenda placed an order, and I forgot to get her to pick her rustic calendar countdown numbers for my prize draw. So Gwenda, you've got 3 numbers to choose because of the size of your order. Yeah, I think that's right, 3, yeah. 3 numbers to choose, my love. So I'll send you a picture of the numbers that are still available, and you can let me know which ones you want. So there's still numbers left if you'd like to place an order. $75 or more gets you a number choice from my rustic calendar countdown calendar. And there's still a fair few numbers left, a few. And you can choose the number, and then you get the prize from the envelope with that number, obviously. So Gwenda, you've got 3 to choose. As I say, I'll send you a picture of the tree, so you can, the calendar, so you can see what numbers I have left. Okay, so we've got all 3 layers of cardstock with our 3 things. And there's something, oh, there was something wrong there. It was stuck down. I was wondering where when my layers went. So there we have our, as I say, it's like a pretty little book, isn't it? So there we are. Okay, so that is the card base. Sorry, I've been making conversation as I went there. But as I say, I will pop the measurements for all that onto my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. And the only difference here is the fact that I've gone straight from there to there with my cut rather than the zigzag in the usual template. Okay, so there we are. So that's the card base. So let's decorate it. We're going to use the, as I mentioned, the Fluffiest Friends, and we're going to make the little bear with his honey pot, the star of this show. I've already die cut, stamped and die cut and coloured the little bear, just so you didn't have to watch me colouring him. Stamped him in black. I've coloured his body, and I'll tell you the colours I've used so you can recreate him if you want. His body is dark pecan pie, light pecan pie, and light crumb cake, because I wanted that lighter little bit there on his nose and on his body. So he's dark and light pecan pie and crumb cake. And the honey itself is dark Daffodil Delight, and his honey pot is copper clay. So there you are. So that's the colours that are in him. There he is. He's the cutest. So anyway, he's going to be sitting on the front of our card, and I've got some die cuts and things to make that a little bit more special. So these die cuts are from the Fluffiest Friend dies, so they come along with the bundle. So we've got this sort of archway here, which I suppose you could perceivably make a big, like a big beehive. It could be like that if you did it in a different colour, and it could be a beehive. I'm taking it as just sort of being the entrance to his cave. He's sort of sitting in the entrance of his cave, eating his honey pot sort of thing, eating out of his honey, which is a bit weird. But anyway, so that's going to sit on the front of the card, and then he is going to sit there. So I did wonder whether you thought, I'm going to ask the question, I'm going to throw it out to you guys and wait for the answer. So with the original card, I have him sitting, as you can see, on the white archway there. But my question to you is, do you think the card is better without the archway? So if he's just sitting straight on that beautiful designer series paper. So what's going to happen as well, so think about that, with the archway or without. So with or without, you really just have to let me know. So what's going to happen to the rest of it is I'm going to bring in the branch and the little honey beehive that's going to sit there like that. And then I've got some flowers, some leaves that are going to sit on the branch all over the place, roughly like that. So without, so Leanne reckons without, how else is going to tell me? So you got without there, or the original is with the white. So let's see, without, I think Gwenda says, without the beehive. Without the beehive or without the archway? I like the beehive. The beehive's staying, Evelyn. Don't you worry about that. The beehive's staying, but do I keep the archway? The original, Deb says. Without, says Margie. Without. Gah. Without. Okay, so I'll do one that's our original with the archway. We'll do this next one without. We'll see which one we like better at the end. It's not going to be too much of a hassle. Okay, so I'm going to pop, regardless of whether he has the archway behind him, I'm going to pop him up on some dimensionals. He is the cutest bear. He is gorgeous. All the little animals in this set are just the cutest. And they're not too difficult to colour. They're just sort of, you know, cartoony sort of. You're not going to, well, I wouldn't have won any prizes for my colouring in, but They were nice, just nice plain pencil drawing type design. Okay, so some dimensionals for him, and he's going to go straight onto the front. Just pop him there. There we go. And then we're going to bring in the little beehive. Now, Evelyn has said she doesn't think the beehive should be there. Does everyone think the beehive should be there? Or a crumb cake? Yeah, I did try. I've actually got a crumb cake bee entry here. So yeah, I bought it in and it looked a bit, yeah, I don't know. I'll show you the beehive. Oh, he's on there now, so I can't. Leanne's actually suggested a different shaped archway. A different coloured archway, which I did on a previous version, and it just stole the show a bit much, I think. It was a bit too much detail. But anyway, everyone's a little bit different with their style. Okay, I'm going to pop my little beehive on there. So that's just a little branch. So this is pecan pie cardstock, I think, from memory. Let's face it, it's just brown. When I'm looking for a brown, it's often which brown do I have in there, a scrap big enough. Do I have a scrap big enough to do what I want to do, regardless of what the colour is? Okay, so we'll pop his little beehive there. I suppose another option with this beehive would have been to pop it on one of the inside layers to decorate the inside a bit more. That would have been an option as well. Let's see. I do like it. Let's see. It's just to show you the product anyway, isn't it? Let's think about it. Okay, so I'll pop some leaves there, and I think the green of the leaves will help the branch and the beehive stick out a bit more, if that makes sense. Okay, keep going, just a couple more leaves, not too many. Okay, now I haven't got a sentiment on the front of this one, mostly because I thought there was enough happening on the front. It was just a general sort of front, like a cover, and I've got all the sentiments and things behind. I think I'll stick with that this time as well, basically because I haven't got a sentiment box cut. Even if I did want to use one, I haven't got one cut. I'm going to put some bling on there after we've finished on the inside. So there's the front of our little card there with our little bear. There we go. Okay, so let's flip open to the next layer. So the next layer's got the really cute candy stripe paper. And I've got a couple of squares here. So I've got, these are the largest stitched squares out of Stylish Shapes. So I'm going to pop those onto each of the following pages. This one I'm going to decorate with some of the other stamps from the set. There's a cute little trio of flowers there. So I'm going to ink that up and add that. I'm also going to pop the happy birthday here as well. So I might pop the happy birthday in first so I don't get too carried away and not be able to use it. Happy birthday I'm using, and the sentiment I'm using are from Pansy Patch. Been around forever and ever and ever, but the sentiments are just really nice. They always, whenever I'm looking for a happy birthday or something, I just tend to go straight to this one. So I will be disappointed when it finally retires. As I say, I think it's been around at least 2, maybe even 3 years. Someone who remembers may be able to pop it up, but it's at least 2 years that this one's been around. So I'm going to pop the happy birthday sort of up in that corner there, just with my black ink. Just pop the happy birthday and trying to get in the same position that I did in the original. Just there. Not exactly straight, but that's okay. We can live with that. Then I'll keep my black ink out. I'm going to put some little flowers along the bottom. Now this last one, I've only got room for 2, so I only want to ink up the 2 left-hand side ones of the ink, with the ink, because I don't want to go 3, would sort of go off the edge, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to grab my ink, just ink up the 2 extreme left-hand ones. Just like that. You can see I've just inked those up, the half, and I'll just pop them in there and hope they don't overlap too much. No, that's fine. So that's our little flowers there. That's worked out okay. And I'm going to have some buzzy bees buzzing around as well, so I'll bring them there in the stamp set as well. Little buzzy bees. In fact, this bee mine paper and the Furriest Friends are sort of nearly almost meant to be together, because with the bees and the flowers. Some more little bees up in here. So that's the happy birthday page, so to speak. Okay, so I'm going to do some quick colouring here, just to bring some colours in. I'm going to make the flowers just to bounce off our paper, Sweet Sorbet, and I was going to use Petal Pink, but the Petal Pink blend is really, really pale. When I coloured it, I could hardly see there was any colour there. So I'm going to try and swap to the marker and see if the marker's a bit more colour. Yes, it is. I don't know whether it's something to do with my blends, my Petal Pink blends, but there was hardly any colour. You could hardly tell, but the marker seems to have a fair bit more colour to it, so we'll use that. So I'm going to do a combination of Petal Pink flowers, just 2 or 3 of those, and I'll bring in my Sweet Sorbet and do the rest in Sweet Sorbet. Here's Stevie. You can hear Stephen in the background. We had some amazing storms here last night. Absolutely. I know a lot of the country has had some pretty wild weather lately, but thunderstorms that start about 3 in the morning. And Ruby, our golden retriever, was sleeping in the lounge room, and I thought, even in the lounge room, I know you're going to wake up and be distressed. So I woke up at 3 o'clock and I'm laying there for an hour waiting to hear signs of her being distressed coming from the lounge room, and thinking that I would have to go and sleep on the floor with her or something. And she actually slept all the way through, so I was the only one awake during the storm. She slept, which was nice. She does get quite disturbed by the storms, but anyway, so she slept through. She must be more comfortable inside and didn't worry her. So the flowers, I'm going to give them some lemon lime twist leaves, but we got 2 centimetres of rain with the storm, which was much needed. So some lemon lime twist leaves. I'll bring all this closer to you at the end, just so you can see. The little bees, I'm going to just give them some yellow bodies. The black, they've already got a little black line through the centre of them, so I'm just going to colour their bodies yellow. I don't think the inclement weather has passed. Oh, bang, there goes my door. It's a pretty windy out there at the moment. And I'm going to give them some light pool party, just wings, just give them that little tinge of a blue wing. go. And I'll bring that close so you can see. There we are. There we go. So that's our happy birthday part. So that's for our the second page of our card. We pop that there. That's going to sit there. So as I say, with this one, you've got 3 pages you can basically decorate. You can go crazy. So I thought it was a good design to use to show you the bear and all the other little bits from the stamp set and the cute paper as well. There we are. So our third page is obviously after, we've got another square to go in here. I thought I would use, just to make some, using another stamp from our stamp set, I thought I'd just use our cute little chicken. So we'll bring the cute little chicken in, put that over there so I don't lose it. Bring in our cute little chick. I'm assuming he's a chick or a bird, something. I'm assuming it's like a little chick, little baby chicken. Going to pop him onto the bottom corner of our square. He's a cutie. And then I'm bringing in my Daffodil Delight Dark and Light, and I'm just going to colour him in. So mostly the dark. But I'll give him a little light tummy. There we are. And I might grab my petal pink and give him a little petal pink beak. There we are. And the sentiment I'm going to pop on the rest of that is, from Pansy Patch again, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you are you. And that just follows on nicely from our happy birthday. And our little chick is sort of looking up like he's looking at the sentiment, which is really cute. There we are. I'll bring that close and you can have another wee look at that. Cute. And that's going to pop onto the back page. Like this. Okay. Now, as far as bling on the front goes, the Be Mine design bundle actually has some really cute little flowers and the little enamel flowers, which would actually, I might like up that. I was not going to tempt you with those. I was going to just use my iridescent gems, but since we've actually decided to not use the archway, I might try and find those little gems. They might brighten it. They might give a little bit more detail. Where are they? Just bear with me. I'm going to find them. They were somewhere here. Somewhere. I may not be able to find them, in which case we'll stick with our iridescent gems. No, I think they're in my box with all my other new stuff, so that's okay. We'll stick with our iridescent gems. We'll just pop a couple of those around. I'll bring out the Be Mine bling at a later date when we can all get them. There we are. There we are. So that's the front of our card there. So the first page, and then the happy birthday there with our little flowers and bees, and then the following sentiment with our little chick at the back. There we go. So as I say, that simplifying that cut there, that diagonal cut, that sort of made that whole card a wee bit easier to cut. And if I If I use it in a fun fold class, that's definitely what I will be doing when I cut them. But it's a great little card. As I say, you get the opportunity to decorate 3 surfaces rather than just one, and it sits up really nice as well like that, so that each layer sort of shows a little bit at the front as well, so that's really cute as well. Okay, so that's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm just going to have a bit of a clean up now. The room is a mess. Have a great day. Stay safe and dry if you happen to be somewhere where you've got some storms and things happening at the moment or over the last few days, especially if you're up. But I suppose we've got cyclone happening up in Queensland at the moment. So if you're watching from up there, stay safe, and definitely reach out if you would like to know anything about these products. So we've got our 2 versions of the card there with a little archway there and without. I think maybe with the without version I could probably have brought the sentiment onto the front page, I think, without too much problem, but we've got that all happening. Might have a little love you or something might be there, might break up that front a little bit as well. Anyway, that's my cards for the day. Hope you enjoyed both of those. Give it a bit of a go. Don't be scared by that fold. It's not that complicated. As I mentioned, I will give you the imperial and metric measurements as soon as I get around to it this afternoon, and I will probably see you all again on Saturday morning for our normal Saturday crafting. So thanks for joining.